So today we are going to interview people of brain. But before that, let me explain something to you. According to scholars, language is the expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. Words are combined into ideas, then this idea will be produced as a thought. So, as we already know, language play a crucial role in human civilization for eons of years, and they have evolved to meet the changing needs of society over time. Scientists have uncovered how the brain processes language, which discovered that different parts of the brain are involved in understanding language. This processing mainly occurs in the left hemisphere of the brain. So this understanding of language function is obtained through studies of abnormal brain conditions like language disorders, which leads to model of how different areas are interconnected and their specific function in language processing. So without further ado, let's go! So today we are with the hot topic, the gossip, the scandalous, AMMAR Aziz. AMMAR, we heard that you have a scandal with FSR. Is it true?
Okay, I have an explanation about this.
Explain.
Okay, let me explain. Okay, first of all, we need to know who is aphasia. Aphasia is a brain disease, and this allows of ability to understand and communicate using language. It can occur when the responsible areas of the brain become damaged. There are several types of aphasia, and each type is categorized as either fluent or non-fluent. Alright, in this case, I'm going to explain to you about broadcast aphasia. Okay, basically, the broadcast aphasia is a non-fluent type of aphasia, which the output of the spontaneous speech is markedly diminished, and there is a loss of normal grammatical structure. Other than that, sufferers of broadcast aphasia may exhibit interjectional speech, where there is a long latency and the words that are expressed will be produced as if it is under pressure. Despite these impairments, the words that are produced are often intelligible and contextually correct. So, in pure broadcast aphasia, comprehension is intact. To relate broadcast aphasia with the brain, broadcast aphasia results from damage to a part of the brain called broadcast area, which is located in the frontal lobe on the left side of the brain. It is one of the brain parts that is responsible for speech and motor movement. Usually, a person with broadcast aphasia may be able to comprehend what is being said, but they are not able to speak fluently since their brain are not able to control the fluency of their speech. Let me show you a clip of an interview with one of the broadcast aphasia patients.
Can you tell us your name?
Mike Caputo.
And Mike, when was your stroke?
I was 7 years ago.
So basically, based on the clip that we just saw, Mike Caputo is his name, the stroke fighter, and that is the main reason he has that disease, which is broadcast aphasia. And yeah, the stroke has damaged his broadcast area, and that will eventually affect his speech production. As you can see, he still have the ability to respond accordingly, since the other parts of the brain has not damaged yet, which is the Wernicke area, areas of comprehension, I think. So basically, he will just have a problem with the fluency of his speech. And yeah, that's it.
So the gossip is getting hotter with a fluent aphasia, which is Wernicke's aphasia. So according to Stroke Association of the United Kingdom, Wernicke's aphasia, also known as fluent aphasia or receptive aphasia, is a state when someone is able to speak long sentences, but it is wrong. So he will just speak full of nonsense. They may have trouble following conversations and finding the right words to express themselves. The most common cause of Wernicke's aphasia is a stroke, which occurs when the blood flow to the brain is interrupted. Other causes might be head trauma, brain tumors, and also disease. So study shows that Wernicke's area is a region of brain that contains motor neurons that are involved in the speech production. That area was first found by Carl Wernicke in 1878. A German neurologist. This area is located towards the upper parts of the brain's left hemisphere, thus it lies close to auditory cortex. This area appears to be uniquely important for the comprehension of speech sounds and is considered to be a receptive language or language comprehension center, meaning damage to the temporal lobe may result in a language disorder known as what? Yes, we're Nikki's office here, guys. So, to give you all a better idea, I will show you a real world example.
Why are you in the hospital, Bob?
He just can't be causeway to doing call free.
In this video, a patient was being asked a simple question by a doctor, but he couldn't even understand the question and answer properly. He was asked, "Why are you in the hospital?" But he couldn't answer, and the answer was totally opposite to the extent that even the doctor couldn't understand him, right? He wasn't just speaking nonsense like a normal people, but his nonsense was hardly understandable. We need to understand that just because someone is speaking nonsense like me, like AMMAR, AZMI sometimes, that does not mean that they are diagnosed with schizophrenia. No, don't overthink yourself that much and be like, I'm having schizophrenia because I'm speaking nonsense. No, you're not. Basically, there are symptoms and there are reasons for his schizophrenia. So basically, his Wernicke's area was damaged and it leads to language disorder that impairs comprehension and speech production. He may be able to speak fluently because his broadcast area that plays a crucial role in speech production wasn't damaged. But since his Wernicke's area aren't well, he was just speaking a long sentence of nonsense. So girl, if you can understand what I just said and respond accordingly, that means you are not diagnosed with Wernicke's area. So for the next artist, I'm gonna pass to our next host, AMMAR. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so now we have found the problematic actors that AHMAD just said. Naki, may I ask you a question about the rumors that have been spreading to the worldwide? Yes. We heard that your brain is not functioning as well as it is before. Can you explain a little about it?
Well, let me explain about it. So, first of all, let me search for the information. Okay. So, according to Oxford academic website, it is proposed that states of the brain reflect the simultaneous activation of two competing speech plans on processing levels related to the construction of a radiophonetic speech plan contrasting with the traditional view, assuming the substitution of abstract phonological representations as the main source for sound errors. So it is believed that a bad brain condition causes these speech errors. For instance, high levels of stress can overload the cognitive system, which makes it difficult to focus and increase the possibilities of errors. It shows that slips of the brain will most likely not happen when you have a clear mind, as the brain is in optimal condition to process and produce language. So let's watch the video to see what is the example of slips of the brain.
Okay, unpopular opinion, the spray hand sanitizer, hand sanitizer.
As you have watched the video, it illustrates one of the general types of slips of the brain, namely exchange, where one sound exchanged with another sound, as in hand sanitizer instead of hand sanitizer. Well, there are other two types of slips of the brain, which are perseveration, where one sound is carried over the next word, and anticipation, where the sound is used before its occurrence in the next word. So that's it.
Alright, as you heard, that is the explanation of the problematic actor that AHMAD just said earlier. And yeah.
We have accidentally spotted a feral child. So let's go interview him. Hello? Are you a feral child?
Yes, I am. Okay, so first let's know what feral child is. Feral children are human who have isolated from the human contact from a very young age and lack of exposure to human behavior, and crucially the human language. Most cases of feral children are due to the negligence of their parents. They receive little to no affection. Most feral children were raised by wild animals such as wolves, dogs and monkeys. Okay, which this has led them to adopt their behavior of the animal caregiver. So research shows that the process of language acquisition occurs during childhood. The left hemisphere of the brain is at the most receptive for language acquisition during this phase. So this period is also known as the critical period, which lasts from birth until puberty. However, if the children do not receive sufficient exposure to language during this period, they may face struggle in acquiring language skill later in life. While it is still possible, the process will be much more challenging and less efficient. In the case of feral children, they do not receive sufficient exposure to language acquisition. They use signals that are used by their animal caregivers and even have the similar behavior like them, like howling, barking, eating raw meat, and many more. The critical period where the children's brain is flexible to any input were filled with animal characteristics and behavior. One example that we can get from this case is the dog girl case. Oksana Malaya, also known as the dog girl, is a Ukrainian girl who was normal at birth. She was neglected by her parents and was left outside. She then found refuge among the dog farms until she was found at the age of 9. When she was found, she couldn't talk and her communication consisted of dog-like behavior, which is mimicking the howling and barking of the animals. The authorities then removed her from her parents' custody and is then taken to the foster home. She is assessed to have the mental capacity of a 6-year-old. The lack of human exposure during her childhood has contributed her brain to be understimulated and hardening the process for her to language acquisition and comprehension. Over time, she learned to control her dog-like behavior, speak almost fluently, and also is now working in a hospital's farm animal. Oksana's case is a rare case of feral children where she was able to reintegrate back to the society and use human language. This indicates that her left hemisphere of the brain is functioning well now. Most cases of feral children face hardship to acquiring human language after spending years behaving like animals. This has proven that learning language after the critical period is still possible. However, it requires a lot of care and efforts. There's a bilingualist here. Let's first take a look. Sir, are you perhaps a bilingualist?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So do you perhaps want to share about bilingualism to us?
What is bilingualism, you said? Okay. Bilingualism, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is the ability to speak two languages. Some individuals are exposed to two languages from birth and continue to use both languages throughout their life. Other bilingual people acquire the second language only after their early childhood, whereby their native language has been established. Relationship between bilingualism and the brain. According to the research, the left hemisphere of the brain contains the language area of the brain, specifically the left inferior parietal cortex in the left hemisphere of the brain. Studies have shown that bilingual people often have increased activity in this brain region when performing tasks that are related with languages or switching language when talking. Thus, it can strengthen the attention, spatial cognition, numerical processing, and language spelling. In addition, there is other area which is the left inferior frontal gyrus that is located within the broca's area. It is involved in various language functions including word retrieval and grammatical processing. It is also involved in range of cognition functions such as decision making and working memory. Therefore, both play a crucial role in different aspects of language processing. Now let's move on to the real world example.
Alright guys, thank you so much again for your big love for our song this year, including incredible challenges of course. 그리고 시간이 지날수록 제 눈에는 누가 뭐래도 감사드릴 분들만 비춰진다는 게 정말 행복하고 축복받은 일인 것 같아요.
So from the video just now, the person who is giving her speech is Jang Won-young, a bilingual from K-pop girl group named IVE. Korean is her native language and she has been exposed with English language since elementary school. The way that Jang Won-young changed her speaking language from Korean to English language without a problem shows that her brain area, which are the left inferior parietal cortex and the left inferior frontal gyrus, are very active. It results in good language switching and language processing. That's all from me.
Do you perhaps have any 1-2 things that you want to say to your fans?
To the unafraid, I want to tell you guys about tip of the tongue phenomenon. Have you ever feel like you know the word but it just won't come out to the surface? Basically, the word is kind of stuck on the tip of your tongue. According to Journal of Verbal Learning and Verbal Behavior, the tip of the tongue phenomenon is a state in which one cannot quite recall a word but can recall a words of similar meaning. When we make mistake in this retrieval process, there are often strong phonological similarities between the target word we are trying to say and the mistake we produce. Then there is one thing that's called malapropism. Malapropism is speech error, where one word is used instead of another with a similar beginning and number of syllables. It was named after character Mrs. Malaprop. For your information, our brains store information about words in two different ways. First, how the word sound, and second, how the word means. Thing to Todd Handy, a neuroscientist and a professor of the University of the British Columbia. Sometimes, our brain cannot connect pronunciation of a word and its meaning, even if we know them separately. When we were recalling a word, we might get stuck because our brain is having trouble bringing together these different pieces of information. There are actually some factors that could lead to tip of the tongue problem, which is age and brain damage of the speaker. Basically, the damage of the brain increases with the age of the speaker. It also can be because of stress or nervous. The tip of the tongue phenomenon is closely related to brain functions associated with language processing, including areas like broadcast area. Broadcast area, located in the frontal lobe, is responsible for speech production and language processing. Hence, when we experience the tip of the tongue sensation, it suggests that there might be difficulties in accessing and retrieving words from our mental lexicon, which could involve disruptions in broadcast areas functioning. To help you understand this better, let's watch the video. Roll the video.
Wait! Oh! What's his name? Billy Idol!
Referring to the video, we can see that a group of people is playing a guessing 8-pitch music singer name. One of them clearly knows the singer, but still, he was struggling to recall the singer's name. But you can see, the guy in black was kind of under pressure because he was competing in the game. So, the pressure involved disruption in broadcast areas functioning. He experiencing difficulties in retrieving the words that he wanted to pronounce. The words is there in his mental lexicon, but he couldn't pronounce the singer's name. What he was experiencing is tip of the tongue phenomenon. That's it.
So, all in all, studying speech errors and other language-related tips have helped us in understanding more on how different regions of the brain works during language acquisition and production. That's all from us.